Suicide is never the answer, yet we humans unfortunately still do it. But that made me think, what about animals? Do animals commit suicide? Now, the first thing that needs to be said is that we cannot really be 100% sure if something in the animal kingdom is really a suicide because we still cannot talk to our animals, and sometimes I think I'm glad that I don't understand what my cat thinks of me. Spoiled bastard. However, there are certainly historically recorded cases where animals for no reason committed suicide. The weirdest case ever recorded in our history has to be the Overtone Bridge. Basically, since the 1960s, dozens of dogs have jumped off this bridge for no reason at all. I thought it was an unsolved mystery, but after researching this topic, it seems that it is indeed solved, or at least there is a theory. And the theory of an animal behavior specialist is that the dogs simply smelled mink, because there was a nesting ground near the bridge, so some dogs were just too excited and they tragically died. So that didn't really prove to us that animals commit suicide, so what can? Well, there are numerous stories about dogs refusing to eat when their owner dies. Those stories are confirmed and accurate, but it is up to you if you consider this a suicide or if you think the dogs are just extremely sad and have no appetite. For an animal suicide to be ruled a suicide, the animal has to be self-aware that what he is doing or will do will end its life. So with all that being said, there are still animals that seem as though they are committing suicide. Usually animals that are self-aware, like dolphins and elephants. So it is interesting to know that dolphins have the physical ability to commit suicide by voluntarily holding their breaths until they die. And this is well recorded when people study dolphins and their psychology because they are complex creatures. In some studies, when the dolphins lost someone they cared about or even losing the environment that they had, there is a chance that they may simply decide to commit suicide. There are of course skeptics to these experiments because again we cannot 100% be sure that these dolphins indeed decided to end their lives, but people who work with them directly do believe in this theory. For all of you who want to read more about these experiments, I will leave the link down below. The dolphins are of course not the only species that were recorded to commit suicides. In fact, a lot of animals in some cases seem to commit suicide for various reasons, including chimpanzees, elephants, lions, even cats and dogs. It all really depends on the situation. In most cases with animals, it is due to sadness or loss of someone they loved. So the final answer is not really clear, because most scientists still cannot really decide if animals have a sufficient understanding to end their lives. Which means if you're looking for a scientific answer, then it is unclear. However, most of people who have worked with animals or have pets can definitely tell you that animals have a lot more emotions and understanding than we like to admit. So a suicide committed by an animal could be a real thing, and if you ask me personally, then I do believe certain animals do have the self-awareness to kill themselves. Thank you for watching and make sure to subscribe for more amazing content.